Question 1. What is the fundamental role of an Azure policy definition? Option A. To assign specific permissions to users or groups for managing Azure resources. Option B. To package multiple Azure resources, RBAC assignments, and policy assignments into a single deployable unit. Option C. To articulate the desired state of Azure resources, specifying conditions, and the effect to take if conditions are violated. Option D. To provide a personalized view of the health of Azure services and regions. The correct answer is, quote, to articulate the desired state of Azure resources, specifying conditions, and the effect to take if conditions are violated. Here's the explanation. A policy definition is a JSON document that defines the what of your governance rules, specifying conditions and effects. Option A describes RBAC, Option B describes Azure Blueprints, and Option D describes Azure Service Health. Question 2. You are creating a custom Azure policy definition to ensure that all newly created storage accounts within a subscription enforce HTTPS-only traffic. Which part of the policy definition would you use to target the specific property supports HTTPS traffic only of a storage account? Option A. Display name. Option B. Mode. Option C. Parameters. Option D. Field expressions with aliases. The correct answer is field expressions with aliases. Here's the explanation. Field expressions, often using aliases like Microsoft.storage storage accounts, supports HTTPS traffic only, are used within the if block of the policy rule to target specific properties of a resource. Question 3. Which Azure policy effect should you primarily use when you want to identify non-compliant resources in your environment without preventing their creation or modification, to assess the impact before enforcing stricter rules? Option A. Deny. Option B. Audit. Option C. Deploy if not exists. Option D. Modify. The correct answer is audit. Here's the explanation. The TLO audit effect marks non-compliant resources in the compliance dashboard but allows the operation to proceed, making it ideal for initially assessing the impact of a policy. Deny blocks operations, while deploy if not exists, and modify take corrective actions. Question 4. What is the main purpose of an Azure policy assignment? Option A. To define the desired state of Azure resources using a JSON document. Option B. To group multiple policy definitions into a single manageable unit. Option C. To apply a defined policy definition or initiative definition to a specific scope within the Azure hierarchy. Option D. To prevent accidental deletion or modification of critical Azure resources. The correct answer is, quote, to apply a defined policy definition or initiative definition to a specific scope within the Azure hierarchy. Here's the explanation. An Azure policy assignment is the operationalization step of applying a policy or initiative definition to a specific scope, bringing the policy rule to life. Option A describes a policy definition, Option B describes an initiative definition, and Option D describes resource locks. Question 5. You have an Azure policy assignment that enforces a tagging standard across your subscription. However, you need to exempt a specific resource group within that subscription from this policy. Which feature of Azure policy assignments allows you to achieve this? Option A. Policy definition parameters. Option B. Managed identity. Option C. Enforcement mode disabled. Option D. Exclusions, not scopes. The correct answer is exclusions, not scopes. Here's the explanation. Exclusions, also known as not scopes, allow you to specify resources, resource groups, or subscriptions within the assigned scope that should be exempt from the policy assignment. Question 6. A policy with a deploy if not exists effect is assigned to a subscription. Which of the following statements is true regarding this assignment? Option A. It will automatically apply its remediation logic to all existing non-compliant resources without further action. Option B. A managed identity must be associated with the assignment and have appropriate permissions to perform resource deployments. Option C. It will prevent the creation of any new resources that do not meet its conditions. Option D. It only audits non-compliant resources and does not take any corrective action. The correct answer is, quote, a managed identity must be associated with the assignment and have appropriate permissions to perform resource deployments. Here's the explanation. Policies with deploy if not exists or modify effects require a managed identity associated with the assignment, which needs appropriate permissions, e.g. contributor, to perform the necessary resource creation or modification actions. Remediation for existing resources requires a separate task. Deny prevents creation, and audit only reports. Question 7. What is the primary goal of implementing policy initiatives in a cloud environment? Option A. To manually review and approve every resource deployment for compliance. Option B. To define and automatically enforce desired states, behaviors, and standards across cloud resources. Option C. To provision and configure cloud resources programmatically using code. Option D. To control which users have permission to perform actions on cloud resources. The correct answer is to define and automatically enforce desired states, behaviors, and standards across cloud resources. Here's the explanation. Policy initiatives are designed for automated governance, ensuring compliance and enforcing organizational standards proactively, rather than relying on manual checks. A. Programmatic provisioning, C, which is IAC, or access control, D, which is IAM. Question 8. An administrator wants to prevent the creation of any new storage accounts that do not have data encryption at rest enabled. Which policy effect should be used to achieve this proactive enforcement? Option A. Audit. Option B. Deploy if not exist. Option C. Deny. Option D. Modify. The correct answer is deny. Here's the explanation. The deny effect prevents the creation or update of non-compliant resources, making it the appropriate choice for blocking storage accounts that lack encryption. Audit would allow creation but log non-compliance. Deploy, if not exist, and modify are for automated remediation of existing or newly created resources. Question 9. What is the fundamental difference between policy initiatives, e.g. Azure Policy, and Identity and Access Management, IAM, policies, e.g. Azure RBAC? Option A. Policy initiatives define who can do what to resources, while IAM policies define resource configurations. Option B. Policy initiatives define what properties a resource must have, while IAM policies define who has permission to perform actions on resources. Option C. Both policy initiatives and IAM policies are used exclusively for cost management and resource tagging. Option D. Policy initiatives are for on-premises governance, and IAM policies are for cloud governance. The correct answer is policy initiatives define what properties a resource must have, while IAM policies define who has permission to perform actions on resources. Here's the explanation. IAM policies control authorization, who can do what, whereas policy initiatives control resource governance and configuration compliance, what properties resources must have. They are complementary but serve distinct purposes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.